Hey guys, my name is Mike and I collect things, and that's what we talk about on this channel. All kinds of music related topics, guitars and records and CDs, physical media, and rock and roll memorabilia. We also talk about stories about rock and roll. On today's show, we're going to talk about this CD revival I keep hearing about. So we're going to be discussing CDs, and I'm going to tell you why I don't think it's going to happen, and I don't think it's going to work, but that's just me. We'll talk about that, and I'll fill you in on why I think that. We'll also look at our gem of the week, which is a record or a CD that maybe you haven't heard in a long time that I think you should revisit. And our featured 45, we're going to also look at a piece from my memorabilia collection and talk about some other music-related topics. So stay tuned, and we'll get right into it. So yes, you heard that right. Word is out. There is a CD revival heading our way, and I think there's a couple of reasons for this. One is for those of you who have collected records for a very long time, you'll remember this golden age in the late 90s when records were found in the garbage and in thrift stores and yard sales for a quarter, or $1 or something, and you could just go to town and fill up a bag full of records and go home and enjoy them. And it wasn't really a huge internet-based hobby that got a lot of attention and things like that. It was just, people going around and enjoying music and picking stuff up. And it wasn't really that, I guess, collectible for that period. And then there was those that had never gotten rid of their vinyl that had, bought records from the 60s all the way up and were still buying records when they could find them. So that era was unique because the cost was so non-existent. I mean, there were expensive records and there were record collectors, obviously, but it wasn't on the scale that it became. And I think once you get too many people trying to get the same records and trying to get the same thing, all of a sudden the cost inflates. And then you get Discogs, and it becomes a bit of a challenge to find a gem anymore in the wild. And I think any of you who are collecting right now know that if you're heading to a thrift store or a garage sale or things like that, the chances of you pulling a really good record are getting slimmer and slimmer because those who had them originally have already gotten rid of them. And the people that are collecting them have already bought them up. And you just have to wait now for somebody to sell off a portion of their collection, more or less, to find good used stuff. So that is kind of where the one side of the record market is. The other side is that the manufacturers of new vinyl are starting to charge a lot of money for a new record, and so it's pricing people out of the hobby as well. So now you have kind of two ends happening at the same time. You can't find good quality used stuff, and when you do find it, it's been priced, like crazy. Or the new stuff is essentially, you have to really stop and think about, do I want to invest in this record right now because it's getting 40, I'm in Canada, so prices are Canadian, but $40 to $60 for a record, and you have to really stop and think about that. I was in a record store yesterday in a mall, and they had a deal 2 for $90, and I was kind of like, 2 for $90. So this is where things are at with new vinyl, and what it's doing is it's pricing people out, and they're sort of thinking, well, I remember seeing CDs for $1 at that last thrift store I went to. I remember seeing, that yard sale had some CDs, and people that have gotten rid of their CDs are sort of thinking, well, maybe I'll get back into that. I can find them cheap. I can go around. It's exactly the same thing that happened with the vinyl revival. And so now we have people looking for CDs. So I see a lot of similarities between what happened with records and what I think is starting to happen with CDs. The problem is CDs, a lot of people are still sitting on their collections, which, myself, I had no intention of selling off my CDs when the vinyl revival happened. I was already into both and enjoying both. And a lot of collectors are the same way. And Right now we don't have CD players in cars. There's an entire generation of people that were now raised without CD players and things like that. So the next thing that has to happen is the manufacturers have to start making CD players again. It starts to get to where uh, to get this off the ground, people have to have the machines to play them on. They have to have whether it's portable CD players even, or things like that. And so it's a lot to ask a company, like, is it really worth us putting out new products like this? Is it going to happen? So then you get into, can you find used CD players? Yes, you can. But are they, in good enough condition to run? Are they going to actually damage CDs? All this stuff. It just feels like a big thing to get off the ground if it's going to happen. And let's seriously talk about the vinyl revival. How big? Yes, there was a vinyl revival, but if you stop 10 people on the street, chances are 1 to 0 of them actually buy records. It's not a huge market. It's people that are like us, that like to collect physical media, like to have records to listen to. But we're not talking a large portion of society here. And, the manufacturing of CDs, if we get back into this, is there really a large demographic to get into it? So that's a couple of things that I see. I don't know. It's said now that vinyl is outselling CDs, but I think a lot of that has to do with new artists not actually printing CDs anymore, and the new artists are just printing records, and kids are buying them, but sometimes they're not even listening to them. They're just buying them to have the record. And then they're just streaming the songs anyway on their devices and things. So it's weird. It's not a time where I think CDs are going to just bounce back. And I think the cost of a CD is going to be surprising to some if it does. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to have the same problem. Yard sales are going to get picked over. Thrift stores are going to get picked over. It's already happening if you're kind of aware of that. And there's not really, huge turn in on CDs. Like, there's not people, they've already gotten rid of their collections. So we have a supply demand issue right off the bat again. Whereas people that kind of had CDs and they went to streaming, they've already gotten rid of their CD collection years ago. So this is, I don't know if it's going to happen. There's a lot of things that have to be in place, but I'll tell you the real reason I think this is not going to happen. Okay, so here's the reason I think this won't happen. It's us. It's the collectors. The collectors will kill it. We will overprice things. We will go crazy over trying to find different titles and things like that. That will trickle down into people hearing about, CDs are making a comeback, and all of a sudden, if they do put it out at a yard sale, they're going to charge more than what they have been. The thrift stores are going to start jacking up the prices on them like they did with records, and us collectors are going to kill any chance of a CD revival. That's just my 2 cents, but I think if you really want a CD revival, the best way to make that happen is to kind of keep it quiet and to not really let that out, that CDs are kind of making a comeback. But the more we talk about it, the more we voice our opinions on that and concerns, like what I'm doing right now, the more people will be aware of that, and all of a sudden the prices of CDs will go up, and it'll just be more and more difficult to get a hold of anything used on the used market. And new CDs they'll go the same way that new vinyl went. So I think it's unlikely of a CD revival might be currently happening. There might be people kind of switching back that were strictly vinyl for the last few years, but I don't think the numbers are going to generate kind of revival that is going to cause a stir and really change the way people are promoting music and doing things like that. So I think the CD has had its day, which is too bad because it's a great format, and I don't see it really exploding, but who knows? If vinyl prices keep going the way they are, there might be a chance, and somebody may decide that, hey, we could kind of get in on this and start doing the CDs. But to me, it comes down to, do people have the players to listen to this on? Do people have the stereos set up for this and that sort of thing? And I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But my 2 cents is the CD revival will not be as big as the vinyl record one was. And I think that there may be a little, uptick in sales of CDs, but I think it'll kind of level off and just sort of stay as it's been. And I think that'll keep happening. So let me know in the comments what you think about all of that. If you think I'm just full of it and you don't think that's the right approach, let me know. And happy to discuss that. That'd be kind of fun. So let me know if you're still buying CDs and if that's something that you still look for. I certainly do. I'm still buying CDs. I've never stopped. But I do enjoy records as well. I love collecting records, and this is just another sort of part of that. So anyway, we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about the gem of the week. Stay tuned. Okay, today's gem of the week comes from a band that had a huge hit in the early 1960s. That is Manfred Mann, and they had a big hit with Doo-Wah Diddy. But in the early, well, let's say late 60s through to about 1974, the Earth Band that he put together was putting out some pretty amazing records. So we have like the Mighty Quinn, this is late 60s, into the early 70s with the Earth Band. That is Glorified, Magnified, that album. The album I'm going to sort of touch on today, there's going to be two. This is the gem of the week, Solar Fire. I've got a little bit of water damage down here on this one, but it's on Polydor. Great record. It's like progressive rock. There's some psych elements in here, hard rock. And the other one I'm going to mention is Get Your Rocks Off. This is another fantastic one. Just give these a listen to. And then the last one in that run, The Good Earth, that I have in my collection. Anyway, I think there's one more in there. But those are some records that, between the late 1960s and 1974, 75 era, the Earth Band did some pretty interesting music, and it's pretty forgotten nowadays. So go back, give that a spin, and I really love Solar Fire and Get Your Rocks Off. These two records, I think, are very high quality records, and the band's in pretty good form on them. So check those out. That's the gem of the week. And our featured 45 segment is up next, and we're going to go to Chess Records again. I did this last week, but today we're going to look at Buddy Guy and a Chess record called First Time I Met the Blues. And there it is on Chess. The great Buddy Guy, one of the last electric bluesmen from this era that was just those great, Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters and Bo Diddley and Chuck Berry and all those guys on Chess. But here we have Buddy Guy, our featured 45 of the week, and you can't go wrong with some early Buddy Guy. And he's still touring. If you get the chance, I don't know how many more chances you'll get, but if you get the chance to see him, he's still rocking and still putting on an entertaining show. Check out Buddy Guy live. Our collectible of the week, featured item from my collection this week, is an original Festival Express poster, which is an event that happened in Canada on the Via Rail, which is our coast-to-coast train travel train system, much like Amtrak is in the U.S. And this is a concert that would stop in various cities, and you would have the performers get out and play. There's a really good featured movie about this called Festival Express. This is the DVD of that, and you can see the whole documentary of what's involved there. But you have a lot of the late great 60s bands on there. The Band, Janis Joplin, the Grateful Dead all played. Buddy Guy did play, somebody we talked about today already. There was a lot of big names that played, and they would just get on the train, go to the next city, get out and play again. And it was a fantastic idea, and it happened in 1970. This poster is from the Montreal stop, which I believe actually didn't happen. The poster was made, and I don't think the show actually got off the ground. I don't know what happened in Montreal, but I believe that show didn't occur. But the whole tour did, and it was a pretty amazing thing that happened in 1970. So that is our featured item from the collection this week. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Just some thoughts on the CD revival, and that I think it's pretty unlikely, but you never know. Things happen. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. We had our featured item from the collection with Festival Express original poster. And we talked about the gem of the week, which was the Earth Band, Manfred Mann's Earth Band, and some of the stuff from the early 70s that they did. And our featured 45, which was Buddy Guy. So there you go. That was this week's episode. And thanks to everybody who commented on the first one I did of this type of series. And it was really cool to see your feedback on that. And I appreciate that. So keep on rocking, keep watching, and I'll get you some more stuff out real soon. I think I'll do a full episode actually coming up on the Festival Express and give you kind of some background on that because it's a pretty amazing thing. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.